Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you 10 aesthetic book recommendations. I'm saying these books are aesthetic not because they have beautiful covers or anything. I'm talking about the feel these books deliver to you and the way in which the authors have written the setups in which these books take place. If you're a person who likes very immersive and atmospheric kind of writing style, and if you like it when an author seamlessly and effortlessly just glides you into the place where the book is taking place, I'm sure that you'll love all these 10 books. So without any further ado, let's get into the books right away. The first book that I'm recommending you guys in this video is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. It is this book and the second book that I'm going to recommend you guys which inspired me to make this video as a whole. So in this book we follow a group of college students who are studying in this very elite college in New England. And what is revealed to us in the prologue of the book by the author is that one student in this group has been murdered by all the other students inside the group. Why they murdered them, when they murdered them, and how they murdered them is the actual plot of this entire book. It is actually kind of a slow plot to be narrated for over 600 pages, but trust me, the way in which the author progresses the story and shows us this place and these characters is just brilliant in its tone. I am recommending this book as the first one mainly because the author herself has stated that the aesthetics of this book was something which took her the most time to deal with, and I should say that it has paid off really well. This book has actually been written by the author over a period of 8 years, and trust me, the amount of effort that she has put in order to deliver the proper ambience in which this story takes place is perfectly delivered by the author. So if you like slow, dark and emotional stories that are narrated in a very subtle way, you should go for The Secret History by Donna Tartt. The next one is a short story collection and it is Interpreter of Maladies by Jhumpa Lahiri. This is a collection of 9 short stories, and the common thing between all the short stories is that each and every one of the main characters whom we see in the short stories are either Indian or Indian American. But apart from that, I cannot say that there is anything remarkable about these stories at all. Okay, that's the best part about this book. Each and every one of these stories are things which you have seen in either one of the media that you consume, but the way in which the author presents them to us is the best part for me. The writing of this author is definitely something which is very unique and I've not seen anything like it from any other author before. She has such an elegant way of showing the beauty in the mundane things that we see and do in our lives, and that is one thing which made me so much attached to this book. I'm actually reading my second book from this author, which is The Namesake, and I should say that I'm enjoying the writing in that one also. I can plainly say that I'm going to read all of these author's books just because I love her writing style. I don't care about what she writes or whom she writes about. I just will read anything that she puts out because this is not a writing style which I've seen with any author before, and I highly think that if you like atmospheric and immersive books, this will definitely be a treat for you. The next one is a YA contemporary romance and it is I Love You So Mochi by Sarah Kuhn. Here we follow our main character Kimmy, who's 17 years old and she is in the final year of her high school. She is not sure what she wants to do after high school though. She has two choices. Either she can do arts according to the wish of her mother, or she can go forward and take up fashion, which she is more passionate about. She used to like arts when she was younger, but as she grew older, she found her passion and she is more interested in fashion right now. Because of this, Kimmy and her mother have a disagreement, and during the same time what happens is Kimmy gets this opportunity to go to a small village in Japan where her grandparents are living, and she spends a few weeks with them in the small village in Japan. During this time only, she meets this boy named Akira, and there's a cute romance that blossoms between them. Even though the romance is not the center focus of the book, it is done really well by the author. But the romance is not the main part of the book at all. The artsy side as well as the fashion side of the book are really well done by her. Apart from these two things, the part of the story that happens in Japan is also beautifully shown by the author here without overdoing it in any way, because it is done in a very authentic way according to me. So if you're a person who likes a lush portrayal of Japanese culture without overdoing it, at the same time maintaining the focus of the book with the artsy and the fashion side, I think you'll enjoy this a lot. The next one is a very comfortable literary fiction book and it is Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. Here we follow a group of 7 people who are in this open house and they are planning to buy a house for some reason. Some people want to flip it, some people want to live in it, and some people just want to alter it and make it their own home. During this time what happens is there is this bank robber who gets into the apartment and he tries to keep all the people inside the apartment as a hostage, and during this time the police are also out there trying to get a hold of the situation. but trust me, this is definitely not a thrilling book, even though the plot sounds a bit thrilling and nail biting to you. Okay, there are totally 11 characters I think inside this book, and the backstory of each and every one of these 11 characters is masterfully and beautifully presented by the author for us. There are some scenes inside this book which also take place inside a police station, but the way in which the author makes them feel cozy is also a brilliant thing if you ask me for this book. The best time to read this book would be sometime around the holiday season when you get a lot of time to read. Okay, it's not even a book which will take you that long. If you sit down and start reading it, you'll not be able to put it down at all because it'll just hold on to you and make you flip the pages continuously. Trust me, if you're going to read this book, after you finish reading it, you'll just want to hug it. The next one is another literary fiction, and it is also kind of mysterious in its tone, which is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. Here we follow two different storylines happening in different time periods in London itself. The first storyline is one in which we follow our main character Nella in 18th century London, and she is an apothecary. The thing that Nella is very specialized in doing is she makes these poisons which she sells to women who come in need of her help in order to relieve themselves from the pain that are caused by the men in their lives. She's actually a person who poisons the men because of the concoctions that she makes and delivers to the women, and she brings them some relief in their lives. On the other hand, we see our second character, Caroline, who's to be enjoying her 10th wedding anniversary in London, but because of some reasons she's stuck all alone in London, and the reasons for it are revealed in the first few pages of her story itself. We switch in between the storylines of Nella and Caroline, and how both of these storylines meet at a particular point and how the past meets the present is very interestingly done by the author in this one. This is also a book which speaks feminism in a really beautiful way. One thing which I did not like about this book is that each and every one of the male characters whom we see here were shown as negative characters. I don't think it was necessary in order to show the two women whom we focus here on all their glory. Still, it is a very aesthetic book because it combines two periods of the same place together, and how the author just meshes them via the stories of these two women is just very interesting. The next one is a YA contemporary book, and it is The Astonishing Color of After by Emily Ixarpan. Here we follow our main character Lee, who has lost her mother to suicide, and because of the fact that her mother has committed suicide, her family is kind of shattered right now. She is an only child, and because of this, her and her father are the only people who are living in the home where her mother actually committed suicide and died. During the same time, what has happened is her father is not able to deal with the grief and try to help her also. He's trying to do some things of his own accord, but they don't seem to be the right things to do in order to help his daughter. Adding on to all this, what has happened is Lee has just kissed her best friend Alex a few days before, and because of this, she is not able to vent out her feelings to him also. While all these are going on, what happens is there is this mysterious red bird which comes and meets Lee in their home, and because of this, Lee gets to know that her mother after death has actually transformed into this red bird, and she's coming and visiting her in order to tell her something. In order to know what is happening and what her mother is trying to tell her, Lee has to go to Taiwan and spend some time with her grandparents, where she learns a lot about her mother's past and her mother's side of the family. This is a book which just talks about grief and depression in a very honest way, so do keep that in mind if you're going to read this book, because it will not be an easy read. The best thing about this book when it comes to the aesthetics for me is that the author depicts each and every feeling that our main character is facing here with the help of colors, and I should say the way in which the author has meshed these colors with emotions and presented it through the main character in this book is just fascinating. So just keep in mind that if you are going to read this book, it will be a very heavy read, but definitely a book which will be completely worth it. The next one is The Book of Essie by McClean Weir. Here we follow a main character Esther, who's 15 years old, and she's a member of this family called Hicks, whose life is documented and televised as a show called Six for Hicks, because of which Esther and her family are so popular. During this time, what happens is Esther gets pregnant because of her boyfriend from high school, and what her mother decides to do is she's going to marry off Esther to her boyfriend before the baby gets born, and even this marriage is to be documented and televised as an episode inside the show, and the particular season that they are dealing with is actually going to be focused completely on the marriage alone. Now this might seem like a very superficial plot, and I'm trying to be as much vague as possible while describing the plot for you guys so that I don't spoil it in any way. The way in which this plot is unraveled to us, as we keep on peeling the layers, the horrendous things that are happening underneath the surface of this book are just very, very nicely done by the author. The aesthetic sense of this book comes into place when we see the scenes in which the life of these people are actually being documented. Even though it is with their consent, there are so many things that are going on in their minds. So if you like reality shows, I think you should read this book. The next one is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Here we follow our main character Nora, who's a woman in her early 30s and she commits suicide. But what ends up happening is Nora does not die. She ends up being in this place in between life and death called the Midnight Library. And the specific thing about the Midnight Library, which is very fascinating, is that it has this librarian who was actually Nora's school librarian when she was in 3rd grade. And each and every book inside this library is actually a doorway into a life that Nora could have lived if she had taken some other decision other than the decisions that she actually took in her life at some point. And each and every different variation of her life is actually stored as a book. So as Nora keeps on taking each and every book and starts reading it, she gets to experience the life that she could have lived if she had decided certain things in a different way in the past. Even though this book deals with suicide in the beginning itself and the depressing thoughts that Nora has even in the beginning of the book, the various iterations of life that she could have lived through the Midnight Library will just make you feel so grateful and happy for the life that you are living right now. And the way in which the author has achieved the differences in between all the different types of life that Nora could have lived depending upon the decisions that she took during various stages of her life and different ages during her life period is really well done. There are some lives in which it is very comfortable and cozy for her, and there are some other lives during which she has to struggle a lot not to get what she wants. The different lives that we see here include both her personal life as well as her professional life. So if you're a person who wants to get some kind of a hopeful read in a very immersive way, you should read The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. The next book is actually a book which I did not like, but I like the aesthetics and the atmosphere of this book so much, and that's why I'm recommending it in this list, because I'm sure that this deserves a spot more than any of the other books on my shelf for this list, and it is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This book is basically just about the circus called the Night Circus, which occurs out of nowhere at some place inside the earth, and it stays for a very brief period of time in that place and just vanishes out of nowhere. And the night circus only starts at midnight each and every night that it is present in a city. For me especially, if you tell a circus, the thing which comes to my mind first is the vibrant colors that we see in a circus. But the night circus is completely different from any other circus in that aspect, because there is no colors inside the night circus. Okay, each and everything that we see inside the night circus is in grayscale. It is either white, black or grayscale always. And the author manages to deliver a plethora of beautiful things despite the lack of colors inside the circus. It is definitely a book which is completely magical in its tone. Okay, I did not care for the story, I did not care for the characters in this book, but the way in which the author made me feel like I was in the night circus seeing all the things happening is the success of this book, if you ask me. I did not like this book, okay, but I loved the experience of reading it just because it is so well written and so atmospheric in its tone. I have the next book by the author also on my shelf. I'm sure that I'm not going to like the story and I'm not going to care about the characters, but I'm just going to go forward and read it because I'm sure that I'm going to enjoy it because of its atmosphere and the author's writing. So just go forward and read The Night Circus. I'm sure you'll not be disappointed with the atmosphere and the aesthetics, because that's all this book is about and nothing else. So you cannot go wrong with it. The last book in this list is one of my all-time favorite books, and it is a YA contemporary, which is Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. I've talked about Radio Silence so many times in my channel over the past 1 year since I read it, and I should say this is definitely one of the most aesthetically pleasing books that I've read. Okay, if you're an introvert, or if you're a nerd, if you're a geek, or a person who likes to be alone for most of the time, trust me, the aesthetic of Radio Silence is the one that is perfect for you, no matter who you are, no matter what kind of fandom you're in, because I know that a person who likes to be alone and who's very introverted will love this kind of aesthetic so much, and that's the main reason I'm recommending this book in this list. Okay, even though it is at last, I needed to recommend this book because I know that people who are like me will completely enjoy the tone of this book and the place in which this book takes place. The main character whom we see here has a beautiful room, and once you read what are the things that are actually present in that room and how she has organized each and every one of them, it will just make you feel like you're home. Okay, this book feels like home to me because this is definitely a story which I'd love to be a part of and be in. I know that this has been such a vague representation of what the book is, but trust me, if you like a very subtle, calm and beautiful atmosphere in which a book takes place, you need to read Radio Silence. So yes guys, those are all the 10 aesthetic books that I wanted to recommend you today, and if you've read any of these books, please do let me know down in the comments how they are and what you enjoyed about them. And if you did enjoy watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.